Welcome to another Thrive Community Conversation. I am here today with Jeffrey Clarke of Clarke Realty, who is one of our longest term members here in Thrive. What year did you come here?
I think it's just over 4 years ago now.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So talk to me about that. You're a real estate company. How did you end up in a co-working space?
So we're a real estate brokerage. We got licensed with the state. That was actually a crazy process. It took like 6 months. We had an office here before we were even officially approved.
I remember that.
From the state, which was crazy. So when you're a real estate brokerage, you need to have like a physical location. So a lot of people solve that in different ways, but we also wanted a place to go work out of. So we said, let's try to find a space. We looked around at a couple, and Thrive just seemed like the best fit because of the amenities and the things that you had.
Mm-hmm.
We started in a little tiny corner office over here, grew a little bit, moved into this other office over here, grew a little bit, and now we've got 2 down the way over there.
I love it.
It's been great.
And I hope you're going to keep growing, right?
That's the goal.
So you started with just you and one realtor. What are you
Yes.
up to now?
6.
And growing.
And
still.
growing mindfully. Like
Okay.
this is something that we do a little bit different than other brokerages. Is we're not trying to grow for the sake of growth. Like the most important thing for us is, this sounds so corny, but I really do mean this, is like our company culture. And I work here. Like I'm an active broker. I'm still in production. I'm a team lead. So I can't like come to the office and hate the people that are here.
Right.
So a lot of brokerages, their models kind of churn and burn, heavy recruitment. Turnover rate in our industry is like 50% every year.
No kidding.
It's crazy. Well, the failure rate's like 90%. So between the people who fail and then leave the industry, or the people who are failing and leave the brokerage because it's the only thing that they can control at the time, a lot of places just don't have a lot of success. Our metric is much higher than that. I think because we are so mindful about who we bring on, and then we're really involved in like the training and things like that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I see it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you are one of the most consistent users of our meeting rooms.
Every Monday, Tuesday at 10 a.m.
And I know one of the things you said too was that was really important to you in your company culture, is having, we're going to be at this place at this time, this day of the week, every single month.
Yeah.
And so talk to me a little bit more too about your training. How is your training? How is sort of the way you have instilled culture a little bit different than how other real estate brokerages work?
I think the starting point there is like we just are purposeful about it. So every team meeting, we talk over our mission statement, our core values. We will choose one person to highlight a core value, someone that they know who has demonstrated that core value and why it's important. And we try to not just have that be in the office too, because you can see our core values anywhere in the world. So I think there's just an intentionality aspect of it, and then that presence. Like definitely, real estate is a very unstructured business. A lot of new people who come into this work get kind of lost in the sauce with, I mean, your days are totally free, right? Like if you don't have someone forcing you to do something, you have to force yourself to do something.
Right.
And a lot of people struggle with that lack of structure if there's not structure provided by the company, which is why those meetings are so important. So yeah, Monday trainings, we come in. If there's something specific that someone's been dealing with, or we notice like a big shift happening, we'll focus on those things. Otherwise, it's just a lot of sharpen the sauce stuff. But like a year and a half ago, there was a big law change with realtors. And agreements change, the way that we do business completely changes. So a lot of agents, depending on the company you're with, are kind of just thrown to figure it out by themselves. And we noticed for the first few months, people were just doing it wrong and like breaking the law and doing things.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, and it's a serious thing. It's like it's a national law. Like you have to follow these new rules. But we didn't want that to happen, so we got out in front of it like 3 months. We were practiced, ready to go and hit the ground running. So it's kind of a just pivot, feel it goes, keep the structure, try to get people into the office so that you can see each other, because that's where I think a lot of the magic happens too. Like we do the trainings, we do the meetings, but that's usually the only time everybody's in the same place at one time. Because usually it's like one's out here showing 400 Central, someone's in the Old Northeast, someone's at home napping.
Right,
And
right.
so there's not like the water cooler. The water cooler conversations are harder to have in our industry. But if you can get everybody in a couple times a week, we have the meetings, but then a lot of that culture building happens outside of the meeting. You know, you leave the meeting, you come into the office, you work here for an hour or two before you go to lunch. And that's where like all the little things happen. They're like, oh my God, did I tell you what's going on with this deal? And then someone else can chime in like, oh, well, did you consider this? Or, well, here's how I would have handled it. And Yeah, that matters a lot, I think. Otherwise, it's so easy to just
To be isolated, right?
so isolated. Yeah.
And it's something I hear a lot too, not just in the real estate industry, but also just the workforce in general right now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of the same sentiment, right?
Right.
I'm a solopreneur or I'm a remote employee, but I have sort of these big lofty goals. I don't have really any accountability, so I'm just sort of floating through my days aimlessly, and even having a place like Thrive, I mean, you're sort of a microcosm in a macrocosm because you have this great space and structure that people really want to come to because your offices are great. You did such a good
Thank
job
you. Yes.
of fitting it out.
That was literally my blood, sweat, and tears.
I know.
to
You can
put
tell
that
though it
together.
looks great. So people want to come there, they want to work there, and that's sort of the same idea too at Thrive, right? Like
Yeah.
people want to come into Thrive because we have cool drinks in the fridge and there are other people working.
The people. I think that's like Thrive has a bunch of amazing amenities, and we can touch on all of them because I think we use all of them. But probably the best part of being at Thrive has been we've just made these connections. We call them our company soulmate is Big C. Over here. And we just have really connected with them. So it's that's been amazing. Just meeting all the people, making friends, feeling connected. And then if there's a day where like we don't have a meeting or you're the only one in our company who's here in the office because you have paperwork and everyone else is out on showings, there's still people around. You can go out to the common area, chit chat with somebody, or you can go into like a lunch and learn or something you guys have set up.
Or even Saturdays.
Yeah, or even Saturdays especially.
Right?
My favorite
There's
thing
always
is coming in on a Saturday and the radio station will have like 8 people out in the hallway with like their guitars and their fiddles and stuff because they do some show on Saturday.
They do.
Yeah.
So that is Radio St. Pete, community radio, and they record the I think it's the Florida Folk Show.
Okay.
On Saturdays.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so they have, people coming in. I've not caught, except for the tail end, is it a lot of like banjo and
yeah, which is fun because we're right around the corner. So like normally if I'm here on a Saturday, it's because I have to bang out some paperwork or I'm like prepping for an open house or a showing. So it's usually relatively brief, but like I'll come in, I'll leave my door open, I'll try to like overhear what they're doing, and then I try to tiptoe out with my open house signs so I don't mess with their mic setup. But
that's so fun.
They're so cool.
Never a dull moment here, right?
No, never a dull moment. And that's part of the fun. It's like, we're a company, we have 6 agents and a transaction coordinator. And so we're not a 50 or 100 person company where, there's always someone around, but Thrive fills that gap and kind of adds that energy back into the system for us, which has been really nice.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
So talk to me, like you talked about your soulmate, your other company soulmate here. Do you have a fun story or an anecdote about some connections that have been made here or a sale? I think you've gotten at least one real estate deal.
Oh, yeah. We sold $1.5 million listing in Allendale Terrace from Tammy, who used to be here. They moved up north. Otherwise, I think they would still be around.
Right.
Our sister company, our soulmate company, Big C, that just, I don't even, honestly, I think when we first came here, I was so task-oriented. That's my default, is I'm very task-oriented, a little bit less people-oriented, which is funny in my industry. But thankfully, the first agent who joined me, who's a longtime friend, is very people-oriented. Mm-hmm. And so he kept talking about these people at Big C. And, Zooey with Big C is very, 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 very people-oriented.
We're going to get him on this podcast,
He
too.
needs to be on this podcast.
He will.
I'll shill for him when after we get off here. Super people-oriented, extremely community-oriented. Their business just does amazing things for the world. I mean, I really believe that. It's a mission-driven company for sure. And stuff would be like, oh, Zooey with Big C wants to do this, Krista with Big C wants to do, and I'd be like, oh, no, we got our mission, we're just doing our thing. And then I think just through sheer kindness and love from their part, eventually they broke down my crazy walls. And now, we just did a game night at Mustafa's house the other night.
Oh, I love that.
We're going to hang out. Krista, who works for Big C, is an avid baker. She'll bring in you never know. You could come into the office and you never know. Like maybe today you'll have a brownie on your desk. Who knows? And that's an unofficial Thrive perk is Krista's baking.
Oh my God, no kidding, right?
Yeah. I returned the favor the other day when we baked a vanilla cake with strawberry frosting from scratch at home.
All right, I'm impressed.
And gave it to her, and she said it was good.
Well, look at you.
Dot.
Listen, a thumbs up from Krista. when it comes to baked goods.
It was more like a slightly, maybe a little sideways thumb, but she gave some really
But it
productive
wasn't thumbs
feedback.
down.
It was not a thumbs down, and she ate it. And
Hey, there you go. Okay,
yes.
good. Oh, so I love that, making personal connections, making professional connections. But I would be remiss if I didn't talk about some ways that you yourself have really influenced this sense of community that we have at Thrive. You are one of the companies that has consistently stepped up to say, hey, we should do this thing and I'm going to own it. And I so wish I could duplicate that mindset amongst everybody who was here, because it's much different than saying, hey, you should do this thing. All right, go do it. And now I'm done giving you my great idea. But you've done a door decorating contest for Valentine's Day.
Super fun.
That was so fun that we really leveraged into a community event.
Oh, huge turnout, and people loved it.
Everybody loved it and had a lot of connection, made so many people, made friends, business connections out of that.
Yep.
You consistently host a book club.
Yes,
and
that's my favorite.
buy the books
Yep.
and moderate the discussion. And that's all you. You just do that because you're amazing like that.
Yes.
And you also really do walk the talk, because you plan organized events for your team and anybody else who wants to join. You've helped rehab houses. We did a beach cleanup just recently with Keep Pinellas Beautiful. Yep. So where does that sense of community come from?
Where does it come from? Well, the book club is just selfish. Honestly, like, if I'm being transparent, it's just because my previous company, I was a part of a book club. I was a part of 2 book clubs in the city I came from. And then I came here and I missed it. And so I was like, well, where's my, I was a transplant to St. Pete. I grew up in Odessa. I've lived all over the state, but I moved to St. Pete and I didn't know anybody. And I love to read and I like to talk. And
The
so,
self-proclaimed not people person.
yeah, I know. Well, it's so weird. It's like if I have a task, the task will take priority. That's what I mean by that. I love people, and if I have nothing to do, I'll connect with somebody. But when early days, it's like it's fight or die, and so it's very focused. But yeah, the book club, I just like to read and like to talk. And what was really nice, shout out Thrive, being a transplant into the city. It's like I had no community, so Thrive was the community. And it made it so easy to just plug in and get people to come in and participate. And I just met so many amazing people through doing that. So selfishly, that's what's going on. For the volunteer work that we do, like we were doing the rehabbing houses with the city. Unfortunately, they shut that down after the storms for some reason. And they stopped with the gentleman we used to coordinate with there was like, hey, we're not actively doing this right now, which was weird. So then we pivoted to Keep Pinellas Beautiful. And we do that. We try to do that like once every 2 months or so, and go around to the city. And that's just because, there's a couple facets of it. Like, one is I think people want to do things, but don't know how to do them by themselves.
Right.
And so I think everybody, myself included, is hungry for systems to participate in activities they want to. But they're kind of fearful, or maybe fearful is the wrong word. They just don't know how, or it takes a lot of energy. And a lot of people, my schedule is very flexible. I'm always very busy, but I'm very flexible. And so I can take the time to set some of these things up. And so for the volunteer stuff, I just thought it was important. I loved doing that at my first brokerage. I thought it was extremely valuable, and it gave me a chance to connect with the community and feel like I was giving back. And so I wanted to duplicate that here. And then kind of the same thing. Originally, that was just for the company. But then Thrive became the community. So it was, I think even for the first year, we weren't even inviting people from Thrive because I just didn't think about it. And I was like, oh, what am I doing? And so we opened it up, and we've got so much participation. It's been amazing. And then, the door decorating competitions and the pumpkin stuff is because holiday-themed stuff is so fun.
I know. I didn't even talk about the pumpkin carving
That's
contest.
one of my favorites. But holiday stuff is so fun. And there's not really anything that people can do for free. And for us as a business, it's not, for me, it's not free, but it's as a business expense, it's so worth it to do that. And then people get this cool, fun thing that they can do. They associate us with the cool, fun thing.
Right.
And it does help promote what we love about Thrive, which is that kind of community engagement aspect of it. And the first pumpkin carving thing we did, I I remember just like feeling giddy for like 2 days afterward, just because of how excited people were.
Oh, it
And
was
everyone's like
so
taking
fun.
photos and taking
Yeah.
their pumpkins home. And yeah, so I know that was a little bit long-winded, but
No,
it's just
I
fun. I
love
just like to
this.
do things. And shout out you, by the way. Sorry for bumping the table. Shout out you guys, by the way, because you thanked us for taking the initiative and kind of driving those things. But I'll return that back to you and say thank you for not putting barriers up. Like you guys have been so open with what we can do, and it kind of has been like hey, we'd like to do this on this date, and it's like okay, which is great because any friction just makes it harder, and we have not felt an exceeding amount of friction on any of these things. Quite the contrary, it's usually met with open arms and full support.
I mean, I thank you for recognizing that. I try to encourage the staff that we're in the business of saying yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it may be yes, and let's talk about that a
Right,
little bit
yes.
more.
Which is fair.
Right? I coming back to Radio St. Pete, one of my most recent social media posts that got the most traction didn't even have a picture or video, and I didn't use AI to generate. I mean, I wrote it from scratch, but it was about saying yes. Somebody came to me and said, "Would you think about having a radio station here that broadcast live with music and people?" And I said, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Let's figure it out.
That was a good decision.
And I think at this juncture in my life, saying yes has been a key to my success. Saying yes first and then thinking about the logistics. And that's a departure for me. And I feel like maybe for you too, because you're a very measured, consistent, logical person, which is one of the reasons I respect you so much, is because you think a lot about your business and your people. There's
Maybe too much.
so much intentionality behind it. But it's, but it's, you also say yes because you do some things without immediately understanding what the payoff is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, you don't step up and say, hey, let's have a pumpkin carving competition because it's going to get me $1 million listing.
No, yeah.
You just say, hey, let's do this thing and it's going to work out
Right.
for the best. So I
think I'm in the perfect industry for that. Like we talk about this a lot in my office because we like to say like real estate's not, this is, again, so corny. I apologize. But like, I also say cliches are cliches for a reason. Like, if something sounds corny, it's because it's been said so often.
Right.
But it's been said so often because it's probably hitting on some universal truth of some sort. But so real estate, we like to say, is not as much a career as it is like a lifestyle because it's all very interconnected. And that's a hard thing to balance for some people. But yeah, for us, like one of our core values, we were talking about core values earlier, is provide value. And we have our core values and we have the subtext to our core values. And the subtext there is we really believe you receive value proportionate to the value you provide. And it works against you to focus on these like little nitty-gritty one-for-one things. And instead it should just be set your systems up, do the right thing, give, and the rest pans out. And now I've done this for over a decade, which is crazy. Yeah, totally crazy. The other day, someone was like, oh, how long have you been in real estate? Because I guess they thought I was young. And I was like, 11 years. And then when I said it out loud, I was like, oh, like 11 years. That's like, yeah, crazy. But yeah, so I don't know. You receive value proportionate to the value you provide. And so if you just give, the rest takes care of itself. And through those 11 years of experience, I think now it's easier to accept that. When you're really early on, you are kind of trying to count your every little tally every little thing and trying to figure it all out and trying to draw these lines between one to one because that's the experience we have in life. In most other areas of life, you turn in a paper, you get a grade, or you do X and you get Y. And real estate just doesn't work like that. But after 11 years of experience, you see how like one of our agents just did a $1.7 million deal.
Sweet.
It was someone he met like 6 years ago. And if he, on that first showing 6 years ago, they wanted something very specific. There's only like 8 of them in all of Clearwater. And if on that first showing 6 years ago, he was thinking, I need something for this. Like I need to get right now. He would have burned that bridge. Like that's just such a turnoff. Instead, it was just, I'll give them my time. I'm not going to worry too much about it. We'll stay in touch. 6 years pass. He sells a $1.7 million condo. And, we won't do the math because it's a little gauche, but
right?
that's worth. it's kind of like you get compensated for being like a decent human being. And that's like, that sounds like a bargain to me. I mean, I don't know.
That's a great way to think about it.
Yeah.
And I really have to compliment you too, because you are in a business that is by definition transactional.
Yeah.
That is your whole business. And so if there is no transaction, there is no business.
Right.
And yet you have managed to approach your business. And I saw this in you right away when you came here. You have always approached your business, from what I observe, as an entrepreneur, which is a really unique mindset to see in the real estate business.
Yeah.
And the types of efforts that you put forth are so speak to like a business mindedness that is mature and different. So we were kind of talking about saying yes. One of the things I've seen in you too that is very entrepreneurial is you've never been afraid to try something. And it doesn't always work.
No.
And instead of saying, well, all right, forget it, real estate's stupid, I'm going to do something else, you say, okay, well, let's try something else.
Yeah,
Let's try something
new.
else. Let's try something else. And so you have been phenomenal at leveraging media and marketing for your business. And for most realtors, I think of real estate marketing as giving money to the big listings and putting your face on absolutely everything.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
And by your face, I mean your literal, like,
yeah, literally
picture,
your face.
Literally your face. And you have taken a very different approach. So what are some things that you've done a little bit differently, and how has that come to pass? And what have been the results of that?
I think the main thing that we do differently is kind of what you said, which is we just try stuff. Like, I've tried 100 different ways to get business, and like 10 of them are working really well. But those 10 carry, you know what I mean? Like they just kind of take you, they take you that way. Some of the stuff that I was surprised worked out as well as it did is about a year ago, we started trying to do some video marketing through YouTube. And we were making YouTube videos about living in St. Petersburg aimed at like out-of-state buyers, people not in our market. And man, that was something that was so hard to talk myself into, because it was not an insignificant expense. Like, we didn't have all these fancy cameras, but I still spent like $1,000 on, a little camera setup. I was spending probably 10 hours of admin time a week on, video production things, writing the scripts, walking around with me, filming me. Then I have to like also go out and stand in front of strangers on the pier and like, hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about condos, or whatever. So it's a little cringe. And then, you post the first few and they get like 40 views, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so you're like, man, I'm spending a lot of money and time doing all this. But no, it panned out. I was telling you, we sold, we were getting like 200 views a video. We had maybe 200 subscribers at this point, and we got an inquiry from someone moving from the Northwest, and they came and they bought $1 million house with us in the old Northeast. And what's amazing about that is it depends on the lead source. If someone reaches out to us from Google, they see our reviews, so they know we have some credibility, but usually there's a little bit of interviewing that happens, like, oh, well, I saw your reviews, but do you work with this property type? How do you do business? How long have you been doing it? When people contact us from YouTube, and we've done a few of those now, it's like they're fans. It's so flattering. They're like, oh my, the first thing he said to me when I called him on the phone after he submitted his little inquiry, he was like, oh my God, is it really you? Like, yeah.
Oh my God, I love it.
Just crazy. So that's been a fun one. Another one is, just really trying to lean into community involvement. The heart of a real estate business is what we call your sphere of influence or your database, which is just people who know, like, and trust you. And that's such a mistake. That's like this huge mistake all these realtors make is they do a deal and then they like never talk to that person again, which talk about being transactional over relationship oriented. That's like as transactional as it gets. That's like, well, never mind. I'll keep it PG. But, you got your check and you never called back. And that's just not how we operate. We like to tell our clients we're more like a concierge. So we'll have people who call us a year, 2 years after closing because their AC goes down. They're like, hey, do you have a recommendation? Of course. Here you go. Or we'll follow up. A big thing, so a surprising amount of first-time home buyers make this mistake where they don't file for homestead exemption in the first year that they buy their house. And so we follow up to make sure that doesn't happen. Like, you are not going to miss a deadline for that stuff if you've bought a home with Clarke Realty.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So just like really leaning into that. Again, back to you receive value proportionate to the value you provide. And we don't think that our job ends at the closing table. It's really, we want to kind of create a holistic experience where anything they need real estate related in the future, you need a landscaper, we know a guy. You want to save money on your property taxes, we'll make sure you get your homestead exemption in. Things like that. That's been huge. And then, yeah, just creating a lot of good systems. We did really well with like online ads and things like that. So
It's been amazing to watch, and getting to see you go from small office to bigger office to bigger office to two offices is it's amazing. That's what we want from all of our members here.
well, it was great because we were able to do that here, and I think every time we've added or grown an office, it hasn't been at the end of our term. It's been kind of like, hey, we need a little more space. What do you guys have? You guys have helped us get right into where we need to be. So that's been huge for us.
Well, and that's part of the magic here, right? It's from an operations standpoint, for us, it's kind of insane having 91 offices,
Yeah.
every single one of which is a
Somewhat
different
different,
size,
yeah.
a different shape, and a different price.
Right.
But what that allows us to do is really be flexible for our members.
Yeah.
I mean, we want nothing more than people to come in here with nothing. I don't have to buy furniture. I don't have to
Exactly.
hook up my Wi-Fi. I don't
Yeah.
have to figure out my coffee situation. Come in, start your business so you can focus on growing your business.
Yeah. Well, and I'll speak to that for a second if I may.
Sure, please.
Because real estate, we have long transaction cycles. And so if like the day you start in real estate, you put something under contract, that's not going to close for 30, 40 days. And you're not going to get paid for 50 to 60 days. That's if you put something under contract day one, which never happens.
Right.
Our average time from call to contract is 5 months. So just thinking about that. And going back to when we first came here 4 years ago, and we parked in that little corner office over there, we were not, it took a while to get off the ground. If I had to worry about finding an office space and like paying for all the furnishings, I financed our company out of pocket myself for basically the first like 18 months. I didn't pay myself anything for 18 months. At like 8 months, we were profitable, but I just poured it all back into the business. The only reason I think I could do that was, one, I think you're way more productive if you have an office space to go to. I understand the work from home thing because I work from home in the afternoon sometimes, but I still think it's really important to have an office you go into. That's when I'm most productive. That's where, it's like you're not supposed to scroll on your phone in bed because it confuses your brain on what's sleep and what's play. And so it's the same thing. I can't work from home because I'm like, this is where I play video games.
Right.
I can't so that was so huge to come in. I didn't have to worry about anything. There's one flat fee every month. It was extremely reasonable based on what we saw. Amazing location too, by the way. We haven't talked about that, but like one of my favorite things to do is because I can't sit still. This is probably the longest I've sat still in like the last year. So like you'll see me walking out of the office maybe every 30 minutes or something. And I'll just go walk down to the pier. It's like a 5-minute walk.
Yeah.
Or like I'll go for lunch. I get Lonnie's probably twice a week.
Right.
So I call Lonnie's.
Shout out Lonnie's.
Shout out Lonnie's. Best sandwich in the city. Anyone who disagrees is wrong. The one downside to Lonnie's is they used to have a beautiful sunny porch you could sit on, and then 400 Central blocked the sun. But it's fine. They still have amazing sandwiches. But I'll call in my order. Hey, one sunny bird, please. They go, great. It'll be ready in 5 minutes. I walk down. By the time I get there, it's ready. I walk back, and it's been 10 minutes since I called in my sandwich. So, anyways, that was a little bit of a diversion. The point is, yeah, having all that stuff was amazing. It's funny how like you're like, oh, I wonder how things would pan out, right? Like you never know. Like I like to think that maybe we would have made it, but the stats say otherwise, right? It's like 90-something% fail.
I mean, I believe you would have made it regardless.
It would have been harder.
But maybe it would have been harder.
No, it would have definitely been harder.
And we got you there quicker.
And that's the stuff I hate doing. That's the other thing. It's like, maybe I could have like found, and I would have had to coordinate and like order the furniture and like do all this stuff. And it's like, but that stuff is so tedious for me. I just want to like talk to people. That's what I'm good at. I don't want to worry about sourcing desk chairs.
Right.
And like fighting over kilowatt hours with some utility company and like setting up the internet and then the internet goes down or like, or the AC breaks and then I have to deal with it.
Right.
I don't want to have to do any of that. And so it allowed me to focus on the business and that paid off. So thankfully, hallelujah.
Well, any other fun Thrive stories, like your favorite Thrive memory? or other than, of course, the banjos and the bluegrass playing on Saturday mornings?
I think definitely. I mean, at the risk of sounding redundant, my favorite Thrive memories have been those community events that we've done. And and the Wine Wednesdays, which is not an us thing. But there was a season where I was going to like every Wine Wednesday, and that was really fun. Just having a glass of wine, playing a board game.
And you guys are so great too. You just like show up with a game, and people are like, hey, what's going on over there? That looks really fun. And you all stepping up is what makes us Wine Wednesdays.
I think right
really
now we're
great.
also coordinating with I forget her title, community manager.
Yes.
Okay, the community manager here, and I think we're gonna help with a Wine Wednesday in June. So we're gonna like bring
Good.
games. We're gonna start doing some of that stuff. So
Game night is the best. And
So
you guys have good games.
yeah, games are fun.
Games are so fun.
Yeah.
And I love it, so wholesome that you all get together and you play games. And it's just, I can't really overstate what great members you are.
Thank you.
And I really one of the people I wanted to have on here as soon as I decided to do this was you, because you are, like I said, the quintessential Thrive member. You show up, you step up, you do stuff and take ownership of it. And you also are a community-minded person. You connect to other people, you introduce yourself, you make friends in the office, out of the office, and it's selfless. That's all kind of community only works if that's the mindset. Community doesn't work if you're thinking, what's in it for me,
Definitely.
right?
Yeah. Back to that one-to-one thing we were talking about earlier. If every interactions you're trying to get something out of it, that's a problem. Also, people can sense that. Like
Yeah.
we've like, when someone's like,
Oh, yeah, when they're wheeling and dealing you.
yeah, when they're gaming.
Oh,
like,
especially
hey,
in real
Brooke,
estate
what's going on?
world.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
Some people are so
I think it's a
cheesy.
disservice. We talk about that in our office all the time. Those people who come in and behave like that, like they might have a good year or 2 years. They're not going to have an 11-year run.
Right?
They do it for a couple years, word gets out, or they'll cap out at a certain point because they won't ever get the snowball effect of past client referrals.
How many Google reviews do you have now?
242.
That is absolutely incredible for a real estate
We
company.
got our first ever 1-star review
What?
from this young kid. Can I tell this story?
Please tell
Okay.
the story. And who is this person? I'm going to beat him up.
Okay, I don't want to get to say his name.
Okay.
But you can find it on our Google page.
All
And
right.
He's just I thankfully we have 241 5-star reviews, so it's
Okay.
fine. He didn't write anything up. But
And I
this-
love it that you know the number, by the way.
Well,
off the
we're
top of
trying
your
so hard to get. We celebrate major milestones. So at 250, everyone gets a little something when that happens. Just because it's like that's one of the best ways to show the community we are who we say we are. But this kid, so he's like probably 22. Kid, how
Right.
crazy, by the way. That I remember being 22 and people would call me a kid and I'd be like, I'm a man, But anyways, young buck calls me on this like fixer up listing we have. But my phone blows up all day. And about 50% of them are spam calls, but I have to take every one because you never know what it's going to be. And at a certain point, you get used to recognizing what calls are the spam calls from the script. Like, hey, Jeffrey, this is Bob with Next Home. How are you doing today? No buyer talks like that.
Right,
Buyers
right.
are like, what's the HOA dues? And I'm like, hey, man, I'm Jeffrey, So he calls, he immediately launches into his spiel, and my canned response is like, oh, no, thank you, I'm not interested. Please remove me from your list. And then I hang up. And so I did that with him. And he texts me like this long, irate message about, with a lot of profanity that I won't repeat on this very nice professional podcast. And it's like, I don't have a list, blah, 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 blah. By the way, he did definitely have a list because his whole thing is he took a course in wholesaling, which is basically you put fixer-uppers under contract, then you sell the contract to an investor. And this property, we wouldn't wholesale it. We're not going to do any of that stuff.
Geez.
And
That sounds shady,
Oh,
by
so
the way.
it's super shady. There's like isolated instances where maybe it makes sense, but it's almost never favorable to the seller because the whole point is the person selling the contract is getting more value than what they're paying for it. And if that's the case, we would rather just sell it to that buyer. So whatever. So, call him back because, he's not a solicitor, but I wanted to explain to him that we're not going to do that with this listing. And he just starts cursing me out on the phone. Again, I won't use the words. And I pride myself on maintaining a level head, and I did in this instance, which I'm very happy about because very rarely are you put to the test where you have to actually maintain professionalism. In this instance, I was like, hey, listen, man, I just really don't appreciate being talked to that way. We would be happy to work with you on this house. We would pay your buyer's agent full commission, but I'm not comfortable with anyone from my company representing you, which I thought was an extremely nice way to handle that. Really, if I were, you know, I could have just cursed him out back, but I'm not like that. So it is what it is. So we said, listen, we'll cover your agent's compensation. Just you need to come to us with someone else. I don't appreciate the way you're speaking with me. And so we hung up, whatever. And then, he goes and leaves us a one-star review. And so then I had his name. I went to go look him up. And he's just a young kid trying to probably watch some YouTube videos. He took a course on wholesaling. And he thinks that that's how you wheel and deal. But back to the other point, he just burned so many. I come across great opportunities all the time. All he had to do was say like, "Oh, no worries. If this one's not good for a wholesale, just keep me in mind." And you know what? He'd go on our list. We have a list of like 20 people who are looking for investments. When we had something come up, he'd get that call. And said, now no one from my company will ever do business with him. And now we have a 1-star review. But we'll wear it with pride.
Wow. I mean, but you're right. We were talking about building relationships versus being transactional.
Yeah.
That
was a transactional mindset
and how
by his
not
part.
To do that, right?
Yeah, just don't curse people out that you want to do business with. That's like just a bad way to start. Also, like, don't work from a script. Too many salespeople. Your scripting is supposed to be practice to get comfortable with where conversation should go. But when you're talking to a human being,
right,
you need to have like an authentic conversation, and you just don't want to be stumbling on your words. Scripting's kind of good for that. But like, imagine we were sitting here trying to have this conversation typed up by ChatGPT or something. It was like, thank you, Brooke. I really enjoy being a Thrive member.
It would be awful.
It'd be awful, but that's what the courses teach, and so he's just a young guy.
And this is why I don't even have questions prepared for these, because the people who come on here are so interesting. I could talk to most of them for hours and hours, and we just see where the conversation goes, which is why it's called the Community Conversation.
We need a Brooke After Hours podcast where we come in here, but we're not dressed professionally. We have a couple drinks, and then we can use profanity.
I love it.
And then we should, because I bet some people here have very interesting professional lives, but also people here are like weird in the best way.
Yes.
And have some crazy takes, not in like they're wrong, just like, oh my God, I've literally never thought about this thing this way.
Right.
And that's one of the reasons Wine Wednesday is nice.
Yes.
Because after that second glass of wine, people start going like, oh, da 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 da, and you're like, oh, okay. So,
right.
Yeah. So vote one vote for Brooke After Dark. Just putting that out there.
Listen, I'm here for it. If Tommy's here for it. Sponsored by Clarke Realty.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's talk. At the risk of dating things on this podcast too terribly, let's talk about St. Pete. So we know that you have a great reputation here in St. Pete for really taking care of people and knowing your customers. But we haven't talked a lot about how much you know St. Pete. And you really have made an effort to become a part of our larger St. Petersburg community. And it's been that same passion, right? As you brought to becoming part of the Thrive community. You are currently in leadership, St. Pete.
Yes, what an amazing experience.
Big deal.
Yeah.
Huge honor to be accepted and really become part of a special group of people who influence the city for the better.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to date the podcast too much because we are in such a transitional time in our city. But I do want you to think back to a story of a person, and maybe it was the person who found you, who was like, hey, it's really you. He found you on your YouTube video. But how you kind of walk us through the process of how you identified a person and found the perfect property for them because of how much you know about people and how much you know about St. Pete.
That all just boils down to listening. And that's also, it's funny how many of these things are interconnected. And if you are trying to do like a service first approach or emphasize the core value of provide value, a lot of that is listening. Like this is where real estate sales differs from like other sales jobs, and why I'm a little bit hesitant when people approach us coming from like a traditional sales job with really tight transaction cycles, because they're trained to like push, 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 close. And kind of like we touched on, real estate just doesn't work that way. And so usually you cast a really wide net to start. Well, it depends on the person. Honestly, some people come in and they like already know exactly what they want. And
so this guy who found you on YouTube, did he know what he wanted?
He had some of the tightest parameters. So he had watched a bunch of our videos, which was I thought this was so flattering. He did his initial inquiry, we did an intro call, and then we hopped on a Zoom call. And on the Zoom call, that he pulls out this notebook, and he had pages of notes from our videos. And they were using our videos as their main way to learn about and understand St. Petersburg, which blew my mind. Because again, this was the first person who had reached out to us on our YouTube channel when we were getting literally 200 views a video. And I just didn't realize how powerful that tool was, I think, despite the fact that like I follow small content creators and I view them as credible and like would value their opinions. I just had maybe imposter syndrome around that. But we hop on the Zoom call and he has pages of pages and pages. And so I'd kind of done the heavy lifting already by that point, just from the video catalog, which was amazing. He was like, yeah, we watched your videos. We want to be here. They had like basically a 10 street radius in the Old Northeast they wanted to be in. They didn't want to be too far north. And they ended up getting a place on 15th. And
Oh,
so
perfect.
he knew exactly what size, he knew exactly what price point, he knew exactly what streets, all from just watching our videos. And so then it was a relatively simple matter of checking them out. They again, that process was about 6 months from the time that we called to the time we went under contract, because they were out of state. We were doing virtual tours. Eventually we found like the just right one. We also, by the way, crushed the negotiation on that. We got it for 10% under list in the Old Northeast. And like he bought that house, which they wanted to fix up, they wanted to renovate, but like lots in the Old Northeast are selling for like 900 grand.
Right.
And he got a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom with a detached garage in the Old Northeast, big lot for 900 grand.
Wow.
We really, they were so happy, which was amazing. And it's like I like doing a good job. I like, you like coming out of something going like, wow, we like really crushed that. So he was easy. Sometimes people come in and they have no idea. They're just like, we like the vibe of St. Pete. We don't know anything about it. And you know as well as I do, like, oh, the other thing, people say St. Pete, sometimes coming from out of state, what they mean is Pinellas County. Or like Pinellas County, maybe not north of Clearwater, but they think of our peninsula as
Right.
St. Pete. But there is a huge difference between like St. Pete proper and Clearwater, or like Kenneth City, Leelman, Pinellas Park. And then even if you wanted to stay within the actual city limits of St. Pete, there's a huge difference between like Rozier Park and the Old Northeast.
Yeah.
Or even the Old Northeast and Crescent Lake, which are just across 4th from each other.
Right.
So when those people come in, it's just a conversation. And so it starts with usually like a buyer consultation, kind of a discovery process, asking questions, what are wants, what are needs. Then we cast a really wide net. Basically, we set like kind of minimum parameters, start seeing properties, at least online, that match those. And then usually through that, people get a better idea. So they start looking at things and they go, oh man, like I actually don't want to be over here. Like, okay, great. So we'll tighten the map up. You know what? As I'm looking through these, I'm realizing that I can actually get the size I want for the price. So don't even send me the 2 bedrooms anymore. Just send me the 3 and the 4 bedrooms. Like, okay, great. And we tighten it in. And it's just an evolving process. And I really think the main thing that we should be doing, and that we do in this process, is like we can never decide for them. It's not our money. We very much this is an internal mantra of ours. Our job is inform and serve. Inform and serve. And so it's just creating the space and giving them the time that they need to let that happen, and not having them feel like it's a waste of our time if they want to go look at something that they know that they probably aren't going to get. That just helps build their market knowledge. So it's just time, space, communication, open dialogue, and no pressure. Like it's a big difference if every time you call me, I'm like, well, I mean, we could go see that one, but do you want to put an offer on that other one? Like, we could just make an offer. Let's see what they do. It's like people will close down.
Right.
So you have to give permission for people to be picky. No one wants to feel like a burden. And way more often than you think, I have to remind people like, hey, I work for you. So it's not a burden. It's like, this is my job. I like it and I'm good at it. And so use me. Don't worry about my time. I'll worry about my time, and I'm choosing to spend my time helping you. So it's just a conversation.
What a great mindset.
Yeah. I think that's also like the best, like, I think it sounds very like altruistic. Really, I mean, I think really you could also call it selfish, because I do think that that's just the better way to do it.
Right.
You will do more business if you do it that way. You will get more referrals if you do it that way. You just need the ability to think long term. That's another thing. Anyone who's listening who might want to be a realtor, like, don't come in thinking like, if savings matters if you're in real estate. It's really hard to be a successful realtor if you need to make money in that first month. we have a team, so we can kind of shorten that time frame for people somewhat than if you were just coming in and starting, because we already have established lead flows. Like, you'll be working with active people from day one, but it's still a few months at least on average that you're going to need to work with these people. And if you need a check tomorrow, it might not be the best time for you to get into real estate. Maybe you work in your current job for a year, save up a little emergency fund, and then come in, because otherwise maybe you'll force a transaction, but it'll be one transaction. And then that client won't work with you again. And we can't have those people in our company. I can recommend some other brokerages that those people can go to, because I'd love if my competition were more like that. But
you have a ton of preservation over that culture and that mindset in your brand.
Yeah.
I mean, your name is literally on the company. So.
Which was not on purpose. I don't know if you know this. We wanted to be Premier Realty.
I remember that.
And it didn't work. Like, we got declined, and the process with the state was taking so long. And so rather than like trying to rework everything and come up with something new, we just made it easy and made it my name. If I have any, I wouldn't say I regret it. It's not the problem with Clarke Realty is it's like Jeffrey Clarke. And so it almost makes it about me. And I was very self-conscious about that at the very beginning. And now it feels less like, because, the name becomes desensitized. Like, my name doesn't even feel like my name anymore. It feels like just our company name.
Right.
And we've built a really nice culture around it. But that was my concern at the beginning, was I don't want all the shine to be on my face. But, it just didn't work out that way. The DBPR with Florida was so underfunded. That was like just coming off of COVID.
Oh,
they didn't even have someone. We didn't even like get manually approved with the state. We hit the limit in like the state constitution for how long they can take to respond to us before it's auto approved.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah. And so it was so tedious, and so we ended up doing it. And, now I get, no regrets, because this is who we are now. But it wasn't supposed to be that. It was supposed to be Premier Realty, because I used to have a team in Gainesville when I worked there called Premier Team. And so it was supposed to be like a legacy thing and whatever. But it is what it is. Now it's Clarke Realty.
But you know what? I mean this genuinely, that because you are the type of leader that you are, I think it's appropriate that the company has your name on it.
Thank you.
It would be a lot different if you were one of those churn and burn brokerages.
Right.
But you yourself stand for so much and have such a great reputation and put so much of your own mindset into your company and into your realtors, into your staff. It should be.
Yeah. It feels better now. It's when in that first year, though, where you're still trying to like figure it out and you don't know, it's like, I at the risk of, patting myself on the back, I do kind of agree with you. I feel proud about what we've accomplished.
Yeah.
And now I'm very proud to have my name on the door. But it's just funny how things work out. It's like you make plans. That's another thing about being an entrepreneur. It's like, in my experience, almost everything that you go for, you can get. It just takes a little longer, and you take like a different route than maybe you expected.
Right.
And so that's just one of those different route things. It's like, well, you thought you were going to be Premier Realty. Turns out you're not.
You're not.
You're Clarke Realty.
That's
but then
right.
Clarke Realty crushed it.
Right.
And now I feel so proud that we're like I don't know if I would go so far as to say like a community pillar, but definitely like a part of the community, and people know who we are, and that's also very cool, by the way. Some like you'll hear from someone be like, "Oh, Clarke Realty, I know you guys.
Yeah.
What's your name?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm Jeffrey Clarke." Like, oh,
I am the Jeffrey Clarke.
Right, exactly.
Well, and you're in leadership St. Pete now.
Yeah.
Mustafa was in the class last year.
Yep. Year before
Amazing.
last.
Oh, year before last.
Yeah.
That's right.
He's been really involved with the planning committee, though. He did his class, and then he stuck around. That's so perfect for him, too. He's like the perfect person for that organization.
And he's given back too. He's done so many lunch and learns, even did a terrific Ask Me Anything for Thrive members because...
Yeah, like a week ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Because who knows what's going on in real estate in the city right now. It's all over the place. And it was amazing.
Yeah.
So great to get his analysis.
He was the first agent to join me here in St. Pete. He got into real estate 1 month after I did in Gainesville, so we worked together there. And I've known him now for more of my life than I haven't known him. We started out as friends when we were freshmen in high school. And so I
didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Hated him. Hated him. He was so annoying. So was I, but no, my God, I was like, this guy, it
Wait, where'd you go
sucks.
to high school?
Wiregrass in Wesley Chapel.
Okay.
And yeah, but then, the rest is history. Yeah, in him joining from pre-day one, I was going to say day one, but he had unofficially joined. Like, we knew what was happening. He was here in the office working, before we even had an official thing, when he was still with the other company, getting ready to come with us. And yeah, having him around was a huge blessing. And he definitely is admired by the other agents on our team. And also, by the way, shout out Mustafa, crushing it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, doing so well. It's so amazing to see, especially because I remember just the, skinny dweeby 14-year-old who like
Right.
was trying to like copy homework. And now he's here. And I say this all the time. Like, if I weren't a realtor, I would want him as my realtor.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing I can say about both of you is it is so very apparent how much you love what you do.
Mm.
And I see him coming in here on Saturdays all the time.
Yeah.
I was like, man, do you ever take a day off? And he says legitimately from the bottom of his heart, he's like, I just love what I do so much.
Yeah.
I just love it. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't feel like work.
You don't get days off in real estate. Like, you kind of do. Like, you have control of your schedule, but like you have deadlines you've got to hit,
And you have to work when other people aren't a lot
Exactly.
of the time.
Right. But you also don't have to request PTO and do all those things. As long as you're hitting your stuff, you're good. But that's kind of what I meant before, where it's like, it's not really a career, it's more of a lifestyle.
Right.
Because you kind of are always on call. New agents have a hard time establishing professional boundaries. That's something I'm still working on. But yeah, no, he's a amazing example. And also, like, we've had these other people join us who I'm just so impressed with, some of these people who come on and just crush it. And we don't really recruit. Like, maybe in the last couple of months, we've been looking for new people just because we could use some help with some lead flow stuff. But everyone has just found us. And I think that's one of the things also, where if you just focus on culture and involvement and giving and kind of doing these things that, like, someone's not going to come ask to join us unless they like what we've got going on. And so it kind of self-filters, which has been really nice, because I've had a couple of people where I've had to be like, hey, I don't think we're the best fit for you.
Right.
Go contact so-and-so.
Right.
And that's always like really awkward, because agents aren't used to that. Agents are used to brokerages just being like, anybody, like, I'll sign you on, do 2 deals, I don't care. Brokerage will make its cut, then go away. But yeah, we haven't had to do that as much, because I think we just show people who we are. And so that, like attracts like, and it's worked out.
So, summing all of this up,
Mhm.
tell me in your own words the top 3 secrets to your success.
Top 3 secrets to my success. Long-term mindset would be the first one. It is extremely hard to continue to work and dump money into something, not knowing when or if it's going to pay out. And like, again, I didn't pay myself for the first 18 months. We weren't really profitable until like month 8. And so like month 6, you're like, I'm looking at, my bank account, and I'm like, there was a lot more money in here 6 months ago. And so I think just being willing to do the short-term sacrifice for the long-term gain, but like actually doing that. And that's not easy. Anyone who says it's easy isn't actually doing it.
So, long-term mindset.
Long-term mindset. Second, I would say lean into the things that you like. Like, when I first started, I think we could have been profitable faster, but I was trying to do all of these things based off of what my previous broker did, who was an amazing woman, by the way. I could probably talk for an hour about how amazing. Her name is Betsy Pepin. She's just like she totally changed my life, but we'll save that for another day. I was trying to do all these things that she was doing, because I thought, like, there's like this one path to success, and she was so successful, and I admire her so much. Let me try to do this. But like, I'm a totally different person. Trying to do the stuff Betsy was doing was like, sometimes felt like pulling teeth for me. And when I stopped worrying about that, and I started doing the things that I cared about or were good at or served me or like were suited to who I am, it was much better, which again sounds a little corny, but that just looks like, I wasn't doing newspaper ads and door knocking and passing out flyers, because I hated it. So we did book clubs and open houses so I could talk to people, and tried to do ads and do video content, because that's the stuff that I enjoyed. So yeah, long-term mindset, work to your strengths. And then third, and this is probably, I won't even say probably, I'll say like definitively the most important thing for me was just having good people around.
Mm-hmm.
And, especially that makes the long-term mindset easier is if there's someone there to like bounce off of it with you and share it with you. And we got lucky. I mean, Mustafa joined right away. Very quickly, we had Catherine come on. And, having those people around to share, who shared the vision, were in on the mission, and, you could bounce off of, is so important. Like if I had to do it all by myself, sitting in that room like by myself, doing the things by myself, I think there would be a higher probability that I would have just given up at a certain point. So you have to draw a line somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Like I couldn't have cash flowed the company for 3 years. There would have been a line. But you can get farther if you have people doing it with you. And I'd say that would be it.
And people cheering you on.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Your Thrive family.
Oh my God, yeah. Well, that's kind of part of the people thing too. Is like, yeah, you guys were all so supportive from the very jump. We had Victoria here at the time. I remember her saying, "I know you guys are going to be successful." And my imposter syndrome brain was like, "How does she know? Please, actually tell me because I need some faith here, please." Yeah, Zooey from Big C was always just like a really good. Like everyone here is so because everyone here gets it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're all here as professionals. Almost all of us are small businesses, so you either own or are working for a small business, which so you get it. And yeah, so that was huge for me.
Awesome. Any last words? Any last thoughts?
Last words, last thoughts. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
This was fun.
Yeah.
This podcast room is one of the Thrive amenities.
Yes. Isn't
Yes.
it great? It's coming
Yeah.
along.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's amazing.
I
Yeah.
know.
That's another thing you guys do really well is you're constantly improving. I know we're wrapping up, but yeah, this is amazing. Yeah, I'm just really appreciative. I love this city, and I hope this was valuable.
That's great. Thank you. And cut.